Hi, my name is Mary Grace Williams, and I'm auditioning for the role of A+ student. I haven't slated in a long time. Get into character. Hi, welcome to my presentation. I want to note that it's about to storm outside, but if I don't do this now, I'm gonna lose all my motivation and it won't get done. And that's worse. So I'm gonna talk about my influential moment in my life. I wanted to do something a little bit happier, a little bit more positive. I've had a pretty good life, I'm not gonna lie. I'm only 27 years in, so I'm gonna talk about the first time. I grew up in Anderson, South Carolina, and I went to school in Greenville, South Carolina. That's where I say I'm from. You know how it is with small towns. I was a pretty sheltered kid. I have 3 siblings, 2 older brothers, 1 younger sister, and my parents have always encouraged me to go out and try new things and be brave and confident, but we'd never traveled internationally before. The furthest I'd been is Colorado. Anyways, it's my 9th grade year. It's 2012. It's 2012, and I know it is because Red came out. Red by Taylor Swift came out that year. So there I am listening to the new Taylor Swift album and also wondering if I should continue my Tumblr blog that was a takeoff of Just Girly Things. If you know, you know. Anyway, then my school announced their Sylvester class. Their Sylvester class is like a Maymester, but it comes at January, and it's 2 weeks, and kids get to typically take 2 different classes to study whatever they want. So, and occasionally they did international trips. Anyway, so that year, my art teacher, Mrs. Tate, who does not go by that anymore, decided to lead a trip to Europe. 5 countries in 10 days. She talked about going off to fairy tale towns, seeing the Swiss Alps, looking at Juliet's balcony and gazing at the Eiffel Tower. And I began to really dream to see if I could go. Would it even be possible for me? Anyways, my parents had 3 kids to support other than me, and I was the only one who decided to go to private school. And I asked my parents if it would be even possible for me to go. I know, the audacity. And they said I should consult the high priestess of the purse, which is my grandmother. And my grandmother said yes, amazingly. As a very generous gift for the whole year, she would sponsor my trip to Europe. But eventually the day came and we went on our way. And our first stop was Rothenburg, Germany. It was a dark, cloudy day, typisch deutsche Wetter. The city was shrouded in mist. That and my jet lag added to the whole mystery of that fairy tale town. And then we went to Munich and we saw the Rathaus. And I used my 3 months of German to try to read the signage. I wasn't super great at it. And then we traveled from there to Innsbruck, Austria. We stopped there for lunch, and then we went on to Switzerland, where we stayed outside of Lucerne and saw Mount Pilatus, saw the crying lion, the weeping lion. But the craziest thing, the best thing I liked about Switzerland is that it had snowed. It had already snowed, and then it snowed while we were there. And being from South Carolina, we don't get a lot of snow. So it was over a foot, and it was wonderful. And then after Switzerland, we went on to Italy. We stayed outside of Venice. We stayed outside of Venice for a couple days, and we got to see glass blowing. We saw the Duomo's Palace. We saw St. Mark's Basilica. I'm trying to remember. And then we did a quick stop in Verona and saw Juliet's statue and her balcony. And we went on to Paris, France, and we went to the Louvre. I saw the Mona Lisa, and it was a lot smaller than I thought. I really enjoyed getting to know my upperclassmen and their parents. I didn't go with any of my very close friends, and in fact I think about only maybe 2 other kids in my grade went. It was a small school, but I still enjoyed getting to know them, and I had a new appreciation for them as the years went on. And then we went home. So let's go to how my life was influenced by that trip. So it just opened my eyes. Number one, it gave me the bug to go travel more. I was like, I've got to do this again some way, somehow. And it opened me up to new experiences. I didn't have to be as scared or not as confident because I had an idea of the customs in all across Europe. But anyway, it opened me up to so many more new experiences. I had the good fortune later on to do the Experiment International Living in Germany, which is the same program my mom did back in 1976. And so she was there when the Berlin Wall was up and East Germany was still a country. And I went there after, and we ended up having a lot of similar experiences, which was really cool. And then I went on to go to Berlin later on to see my friend who was from Germany and had moved back after high school. And then I studied abroad. I am a very lucky girl, and I got to study abroad in London. And while I was in London, I traveled a lot of places by myself. That was my first. I went with Holland's University, not my own college, and I stayed in a homestay with their mom was Australian and the dad was Palestinian. And boy, that was a wake-up call to my little sheltered life. And it was wonderful. I got to have so many new experiences, and I traveled by myself for the first few times. I went to Oxford by myself. I went to Poland by myself. And I went to Edinburgh by myself, and then Amsterdam. And then later on, I went back to Switzerland after COVID restrictions let up, and I was able to do the Via Ferrata by myself. And I've traveled. To sum it all up, is that trip opened up not only the travel bug for me, but also the confidence to go to different countries and eventually go to them by myself and travel with friends. I think it's beautiful to share with people. Anyway, thank you for listening to my presentation. And I hope you guys, if you haven't gotten the chance to travel abroad, I hope you do take it. All right, bye.